On June 5th every year, the United Nations encourages worldwide awareness and action for the protection of our environment. The year's events and what you can do to join in are coming up on Polk Place. Welcome to Polk Place. I'm your host, Lauren Lingell. Joining us in studio, we have Gerald Robinson, professional engineer with the Department of Health in Polk County, and John Cook, environmental supervisor with the Department of Health in Polk County. Gentlemen, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here, especially because I don't know a lot about what the Department of Health does in terms of environmental programming and things of that nature. So maybe you could start a little bit by telling me, Gerald, what your role is as a professional engineer.
Well, as a professional engineer with the Department of Health, I work with the water programs. Our main goal is to protect, promote, and improve the health of all the people in Florida. And in doing that, we want to protect our water resources, and that's key here in Polk County, because everything we live, work, and play involves water. So as a professional engineer, that is one of the items I do, is to make sure our water system stays safe.
And when you say our water resources, you're talking about our lakes, our rivers?
Not only that, our lakes and rivers, but more along our drinking water. Our drinking water is one of our most precious resources here in our area. If you look at our numbers, we have over 800 water systems that provide water to people in just our county. And each of these systems have to be maintained to provide safe drinking water, both chemically, physically, and biologically. There's all kinds of threats to our water system. And then a lot of the things that our world faces, as we look at World Environmental Day, one of the key is keeping water safe and access to safe drinking water. And even though you think Africa is a far away place, or some of the far reaches of South America where they have water problems, we could have the same potential problems here if we weren't monitoring our systems. One of the things we do is we make sure that our distribution networks for our water keep them safe from contaminants. We want to make sure, it sounds simple, but when we've got as much growth as we've had here in Polk County, it's hard to get all of our utility lines into one area and to make sure our sewer lines are far enough away from our drinking water lines, because we don't want those to cross. And then when the accidents do happen, we need to be prepared and issue boil water notices, and we assist our water systems in doing that.
I see. And John, you are the environmental supervisor, and that sounds kind of like a really big job given the environment's everywhere.
Well, we manage a number of inspection teams and inspection programs that involve facilities that serve the public, either places where people reside, or spend their time, such as in our schools during the day, our school populations and children, plus some residential group care facilities where people either are receiving some kinds of treatment or they're staying there for some kinds of care. We manage and license those programs and also manage the food services, the food safety in those areas. We also have programs involved in migrant labor housing and in mobile home parks to make sure that those facilities all have adequate sewer and water connections. So we work with our septic divisions and drinking water divisions in concert with them to make sure that all these facilities have safe, clean environments and safe sources for their water and sewer. We also manage programs in biomedical waste, tattoo and body piercing, because of the potential for spread of disease through those the needles involved in those services, and then the proper disposal and handling of the waste needles and waste materials from medical facilities, hospitals and doctors' offices. We inspect all those to make sure that we have a clean and safe waste stream and no exposures to the public or the chance to communicate diseases. So those are all programs we have, and even in the gyms and places where we have tanning operations, we monitor those to make sure they're safe and sanitary for people to get in and out of with other customers using them, and also the potential for people to receive burns or over treatment of those. So we're involved across a broad spectrum of programs. These can affect the environment in a way, but we're we're focused on the human environment, again, where Gerald mentioned where our residents of Polk County live, work, and play, and where they could be exposed to potential spread of disease. And by focusing on these areas, we keep that from spreading into the broader community. And there's a tie-in there with the environment, obviously.
Of course. And as we continue talking, we're going to learn more about some of the programs your particular area takes care of. But before we get into that, tell me what World Environment Day is for those of us who don't actually work with this every day.
It's recognized each year on June 5th to bring attention to protection of the environment around the world. And again, we have our local focus here, which we think ties in with that, in that there's a shared aspect of public health and the broader environmental health. Good, safe drinking water also means a good, safe drinking water supply and a water supply.
So rather than just celebrating this for one day, this needs to be kind of a practice every day. This is kind of what you do.
That's a good point. What we do every day does have a global day that is recognized, but we're involved in this every day.
And not just on our everyday things, even everything we do. Well, we haven't mentioned our swimming pool program. You wouldn't think that the Department of Health would necessarily be concerned about swimming pools, but swimming pools and spas are some of the potential areas where diseases can start and spread. And we make sure that not only are diseases not able to start there, but also that they're safe. You wouldn't think about non-skid tiles on a swimming pool until you go to slip one time, and then you're really happy that we've had an inspection program that makes sure that you don't slip and fall and hurt yourself at a swimming pool.
So in addition to the non-skid tiles, what are some of the other things that you put into practice to ensure that the spas and pools are safer?
It's a maintenance program because some of our pools vary in ages in our county just because we've had such a long lifespan here in the county. They can be as new as a brand new pool that's installed in an apartment complex to pools that have been there at some of our motels for 50 years, and things fade over time. So we do a yearly inspection on those to make sure that they're safe. And then when we do receive calls of complaints or issues, we investigate those to make sure that they're remediated. And then one of our other benefits, and John can speak to this a little bit, is our epidemiology program. When we have a disease outbreak in Polk County, environmentally, we want to respond quickly and find out what the cause is.
Yes, our epidemiological group, there are many diseases that are reportable to them where they track and monitor the data of any kind of spread of any disease around the state. And some of these wind up in the news and receive a lot of attention, like the current Zika concern. We work with our mosquito control locally here in Polk County and monitoring that and being prepared for response in those events. Also, all Department of Health staff are trained and are at the ready in the event of an emergency like a hurricane or storm event where there's a statewide emergency. Everyone is ready to shift gears and work outside their normal programs to respond to an emergency need.
And John mentioned cooperatively with the county programs. We also work cooperatively with state programs. It's an interagency agreement between the Department of Environmental Protection and the Department of Health that protect our water systems. The Department of Environmental Protection is charged from the federal government of maintaining a safe drinking water program, but we're their hands and feet. We're the ones that are out there physically inspecting systems, making sure that there's no cross connections. It's not hard for us to sometimes to forget to put our backflow preventer on our irrigation system because we're watering our lawn, and then the pressure drops low in the system, and all of a sudden whatever we were watering our lawn with, or wherever or the end of our hose is at, is all of a sudden in our water system. If we're not there to protect that, we're again introducing potential for diseases to our water system, and that's what we're there to protect.
So how does the relationship between the residents of Polk County and your environmental division or section of the Department of Health, like, what would be the reason why a resident would reach out to you? Can you give me some examples there?
There are any number of reasons where we really depend on the public to let us know about conditions at any of the licensed facilities that I spoke of, or in relation to water issues that Gerald spoke of. We have programs that under the DEP, the Department of Environmental Protection, that involve the protection over the water resources generally, both for drinking and general environmental protection, such as protection from pollutants and cleanup of pollutants that have gotten into our water supply. We're involved in those. But if the public has any concern about a facility, even though it may not be one that is managed and licensed by us, we can provide referral services to the other state agencies that can get involved and tackle any kind of a problem that's perceived by the public as having a health component or an environmental component.
So I would imagine that's sort of our responsibility as residents of the county to kind of keep our eyes out, because you can't be everywhere.
That's very true, and we appreciate this opportunity to let people know about the programs and also to enlist their support, to reach out to us if there's a potential area where we could help.
And one of the areas we can help in is one of the most common questions we get from residents in the water program is, my drinking water, my well, if they're on a private well and not on a public water system, my water's different today than it was yesterday. What can I do about it? And we've set up a series of labs that assist us, and with a phenomenal fee, they'll analyze the water, but we will instruct our residents on what to sample for, and to make sure that their water is safe for them.
Fantastic. Well, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. But I appreciate you both coming out and getting us geared up to pay attention to World Environment Day, and to continue being mindful of the environment that we live in. So thank you.
Well, thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
We appreciate the opportunity.
World Environment Day is recognized each year on June 5th. It's a worldwide campaign that brings awareness and action to the protection of our environment. The Florida Department of Health works to protect, promote, and improve the health of all people in Florida through integrated state, county, and community efforts. The Florida Department of Health in Polk County recognizes World Environment Day as an opportunity to focus on local efforts being made to protect, promote, and improve health in our own local environment. For more information, you can go to www.mypolkhealth.org, or you can give them a call at 863-519-8330.